office. So Roger Goodell and his minions are working overtime as the puppet masters of the NFL to try to create opportunities to bring in more minority coaches and general managers into the NFL ranks. The numbers have gone down. The NFL sees this as problematic, and so they want the numbers to go up. They're asked about it quite a bit. And so over the weekend, and maybe you missed this, maybe you saw it, maybe you talked about it with your friends and whatnot. It was while we were away from our perch as the watchdogs of the overnight. So the way this went down. So a report came out over the weekend that the NFL is going to present a pair of resolutions tomorrow on Tuesday at a virtual NFL meeting. And they're going to try to artificially create more minority coaches and general managers in the NFL. The meeting will take place on Tuesday over laptops and smartphones and all that. But this is the one. Now, there were two different proposals. The one we'll focus on is the one that's got people's blood boiling. And it would allow teams to improve their draft position, and all they have to do is hire a black coach or a black general manager. Under the proposal, a team that hires a minority head coach would move up 6 spots in the third round of the following year's draft. If you hire a minority for the top personnel job in your front office, that would create a 10-spot improvement. And yeah, I'm not making this up. Now, it gets me even more ridiculous. A team that conceivably hired a minority coach and GM could move up 16 spots in the third round. Wow.
Racist.
Also, a team's fourth-round pick would improve by 5 spots in the coach's or GM's third year. So hiring a minority candidate as a quarterback's coach would also bring you a compensatory fourth-round pick. But wait, there's more. If a minority assistant becomes a coordinator elsewhere, then his old team would get a fifth-round compensatory pick. There'll be a quiz on this later. Losing a minority coach, be it a head coach or a GM, for example, if Mike Tomlin got hired away to coach the Cardinals or something like that, that would bring the Steelers a third-round compensatory pick. All right, so let us discuss the question. What do you think of this outrageous plan by the NFL that's being kicked around? So I've got the dishwasher, the embryo, and the meritocracy, and we will lock all these together. Now, the first thing that popped in my head is this cannot be real, right? In fact, I had a friend of mine text me this story, and I was like, that's very funny. I don't see the Onion, but it's got to be the Onion. It's got to be an Onion story. This can't be real, right? There's no way this is real. Has to be a farcical story. Sure enough, it's legit. It checks out. Blue check mark and all that. Someone should get a pink slip for coming up with this. I don't know who came up with it in the NFL. Heads should roll. Just the very idea is offensive to everyone involved. Everyone involved. And this report comes from state-sponsored NFL media. They put it out there that, I'll kind of hold your hand and walk you through some of this here. But it is racist on every level. And it's unsettling that this is the solution that they've decided to come up with. It's crazy. I mean,
racist.
They're essentially saying that the black coach is inferior, the black GM's inferior, but if you hire one of these guys, we'll incentivize you with an extra draft pick. Like when I heard this, and I thought, well, this got to be fake. And then it's kind of like when you go shopping back when we used to go out and we were able to go to stores and stuff like that. I know it's starting to open up a little bit, but not where I am. And you say you want to buy a dishwasher. You go out to buy a dishwasher. You go to Lowe's, right? Let's say you're in Beaver Creek, Ohio. You go to Dick and Dayton in Beaver Creek, Ohio, Lowe's. You go there, and they've got a bunch of beautiful dishwashers, and they're all pretty expensive, but they're all really cool, all kinds of bells and whistles, but they're expensive. And then you go to the very back of the store, and they have the scratch and dent section, right? And these are the appliances that were out on the floor, and they've been used and abused. Maybe they've been returned by customers that either couldn't afford to pay for them or some other issue. And these often have scratches, dents, they're faded, the color's faded a little bit from excessive use and the wear and tear. Well, to buy one of those dishwashers, you save 25 to 50% off the retail price. That's called incentive, to buy something that's not quite as good. So the NFL's decided to treat minority coaches and GMs as a broken down dishwasher. We'll give you a little extra. We'll cut you a little slack there if you hire. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't know anyone. I would love if somebody could call up and tell me how this is a good idea. I would love someone to tell me this is a good idea. It's demeaning. Phony jobs do not solve anything. Now, the second thing, anyone with common sense would say that this has to be dead on arrival when they talk about it on Tuesday. And I know there's different reports about whether this is actually real or not, but we are talking about the woke NFL. And so it's being floated out there for public consumption. I guess that would be us, right? You and I, we're in this together as the public, which means it's at the very least being considered in the what I call the embryo stage, right? You would think that this would die on the vine, but the NFL, they already have the Rooney Rule, which has continued on for years. The NFL likes quotas. They don't mind quotas, and quotas don't work, of course, but they like tossing this stuff out. There's a quote on, you have to interview so-and-so. The Rooney Rule creates the tokenization of candidates, which I think is a bad thing. Now, some people do not think it's a bad thing. That people are handpicked to check a box oftentimes, which to me doesn't solve any underlying issue. This new proposal, which is being tossed about over the weekend, is a wide-ranging attempt at, for lack of a better term, I think this is the appropriate term, social engineering, right? You would also have some opportunistic teams. If you carry this forward, you say teams, certain percentage of teams don't try to win. They would then be able to abuse the system. And say you have a devious owner who wants to get a higher draft pick. You say, well, third-round pick doesn't matter, but every pick matters. And if you get a higher third-round pick, you can get a chance to get a starting player in the NFL, player that can contribute to your team for several years. So let me go out and I'll hire a minority coach. I'll hire a minority GM. I'll get the combo dish. I'll move up 16 spots in the third round. And then, listen, they'll only be around for a couple of years. And then the team, which is not going to be very good because the team's not good right now, I will get my extra draft pick, a higher draft pick, and then I will move on and hire someone else. All right, now the final point. So the NFL, which I think we all know is a mostly black league, it's about 80%, I believe, somewhere in that area. And now they've come up with, hey, listen, why don't we level the playing field here in the front office and the coaching ranks? It's always odd to me, though, how the mindset works here. It's like, well, we need more black coaches, we need more black GMs, but if they're really about the quota, and if they're really about social engineering, how far do you want to go? Are there too many black players in the NFL? Are they going to have to cut down on that particular number? Because after all, if you're worried about certain percentages and whatnot, if it's 80% tipped in that direction, it's a problem. Should you incentivize teams to sign the slow white guy and put him in the defensive backfield? What about ownership? These owners are all white guys, for the most part, other than Shad Khan. So are they worried about social engineering among owners? I don't think they're worried about that. The way I've always looked at it, and it's on the field or in the front office in the coaching ranks and the GM ranks, is it's supposed to be a meritocracy. And it's a big word, meritocracy. It's a great word. It's a solid word. We don't use it that often, but meritocracy. Coaches, players, GMs, all of them should be chosen because they have the merits, not according to their race, color, creed, or religion. The only way this doesn't work is if you have racists who are hiring people. Now, so for the NFL to go forward with this, they're essentially saying that the owners are racist. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to put any of these rules in, because why, if you own an NFL team, would you not hire the most qualified person for the job, right? It doesn't make any sense. You hire the top candidate, whether it's an NFL job or any job. If you own a business, you're telling me the business owner's like, I'm not going to hire that person, even though that person's the most qualified, the top candidate for the job. I'm not going to hire them because I don't want to hire a black person. That makes you racist, obviously. So the NFL's saying, by that logic, that they're a bunch of racists running around. I don't believe they're a bunch of racists running around the NFL. Maybe I'm wrong. But
Racist.
the implication with this particular rule that's being tossed out is that the owners of NFL teams are racist enough where they would not hire a person of color because that person, not that they're not the most qualified for the job, but, I'm sorry, I don't, it goes against my sensibilities. And it's just insane. It's absolutely insane that this is being talked about and being considered, but it's out there. It's absolutely out there, which just blows me away on every level. It blows me away.